Hello, everybody. This is Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And as you can see, I have a friend next to me. This is Sheri Salata, and she is the co-host of the popular podcast series, This is 50 with Sheri and Nancy, where she and her soulmate friend of 27 years, I love that, by the way, because soulmates don't have to just be a intimate love relationships. That's so beautiful. But her friend of 27 years, Nancy Holla. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Holla. Okay.
Nancy Holla.
Like Holla.
Yeah.
They're recreating the middle of life as they set out to make the rest of their dream story come true.
Hey.
So Sheri and Nancy are also co-founders of Story, which is a media company producing print, digital, and live event content, and Orange Dragon Productions, developing TV and film content. Sheri's current venture is the evolution from her 21 years with Oprah Winfrey. It's amazing. Her action-packed day was executive producer on the Oprah Winfrey Show, where chronicled in the acclaimed docuseries season 25, Oprah Behind the Scenes. Sheri also served as a co-president of Harpo Studios and OWN, which is, of course, the Oprah Winfrey Network.
That's right.
Sheri has been this is really so amazing. Sheri's been named one of the Fast Company's 100 most creative people in business. Well, I mean, that's amazing. The Hollywood Reporter's Woman in Entertainment Power 100. And the 2017 Feminist Press Power Award winners. Sheri is a University of Iowa alum and mama to her beautiful English bulldogs, Bella and Kissy. I love that name.
Yay.
Both of those names. And she lives in Los Angeles. So thank you so much, Sheri, for being here.
Yay. Happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
I'm just so excited because, as you know, this show is all about I moved my camera. The distinctions between the outer journey and the inner journey.
Yes.
So in my work as a law of attraction coach, I make that distinction, right? So the outer journey is things like creating a vision, getting the education that you need to get the skill set, making calls, taking any type of actions. And the inner journey, which is all about aligning the frequency of our thoughts and our beliefs and our mood and our perspectives and expectations with the essence of the success that we desire. So how would you characterize your inner journey to success, and what internal shifts did you make within yourself along the way in order to align with the success that you desired?
Well, there were seismic shifts along the way, for sure. I didn't come to Oprah in an entry-level position until I was 35 years old.
Well, I've heard your story. Let me just share it, because you actually auditioned, right, to be on the show.
Well, no, I sent in my resume. I applied. Okay. I applied and was soundly rejected. By that time, I had gone from toy store manager, typist at a title company, store manager training at 7-Eleven, district supervisor at 7-Eleven. I had all kinds of these jobs that I was trying to turn into success, and I was trying to turn into, a lifelong career. And as at that particular time in my life, and for a long time, the compass I used was misery. I would stick it out. I would keep bringing my lunch pail to work, and then finally I wouldn't be able to get out of bed. I was so miserable. And then, and only then, was it time to quit.
Wow.
And so I had at least found my passion, which was producing. And I'd been producing in my private life, bossing my cousins around, doing the family musicals for a long, long time. But a wonderful, generous, life-changing man whose name is Perry Stieber was the executive producer at an ad agency in Chicago. And he hired me. It totally changed the course of my life. He hired me to be his secretary. That's what we were called at the time. I could barely type, but he took me under his wing and he trained me how to be a producer. But I want to point out that I was 27 years old. I already had a 401k. I was already on a track for growth in another company. And I was willing to leave that behind because I knew it wasn't a match to my soul. And I was willing to start over for no money, typing again for somebody else, but I knew it was a big break.
See, that's what I love is that, you know, a lot of people I've interviewed on the show, when they talk about quantum success, it's like they trusted that even though they couldn't see that this was a sure thing, they trusted their gut, they trusted their intuition, they trusted that thing that was calling them forth to leave what was secure and natural and normal and, you know, to go for something different, even though they didn't. I kind of look like being Jane of the jungle. It's like you're going from vine to vine and you're about to grab the vine and you can't see it in front of you. And you're like, where's the vine?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, I've done that a bunch of times. So I am Jane of the jungle. Yeah. But here's the one thing. I was always willing to bet on myself. That if I could get my foot in the door, it didn't matter what I was paid or what my title was, that I was willing to bet that that I would do what it took, that I would learn what I needed to learn, and I knew I was making a good bet if I could just get that chance.
So that confidence that you have in yourself, where did that come from? Because that takes confidence to say that no matter what, if I get in, I'm going to do a great job. They're going to, you know, like, you know that about yourself.
I think it was. And I didn't feel this way in every area of my life. So, but in the area of figuring out how to perform and deliver a success-worthy performance, it probably was teachers. You know, it was teachers. I loved to read. You know, I would end up being, I'd end up getting such positive feedback from teachers about my performance in the classroom that it would just spur me on to try to, you know, go higher and reach farther. So there was probably something in that. And, you know, it's like anything in life. You start to build up, all you need is a little bit of success and you can build on that. And then you start telling yourself the story, wow, I can really figure things out. Wow, my dedication and willingness to do what it takes really pays off. And that story, because I live my life by the law of attraction. And I didn't know it at this time that's what I was doing, but it would just start to change my energy, shift my vibration. And next thing I knew, I was telling the story that was, just let me in the door and I'll rock that situation.
So it was self-talk. I mean, that's why it's so important to be connected with yourself enough to even say, I've got what it takes. I can get in the door, you know?
That's right.
A lot of people will, oh, well, that's not going to work. You know, like I always say that we get this divine idea from the divine. It's the only place we can get any like receipt of any type of law, right? And we as the human being either go, ooh, I like that idea. What do I need to do? And like we start moving towards it. Or the other is, well, that won't work. How would I do that? Who am I to do that?
Oh,
I don't have what it takes.
We talk ourselves out of all of our dreams. And there are other areas of my life where I'm still working on not doing that. Because that's the truth. That is, you are literally breathing life to your story by those words you choose and those thoughts you choose and the way you talk to yourself about that.
I love that.
Because, you know, and here is the truth. When I applied to the Oprah show, I was probably 33. And I knew it was a bit of a long shot because I was in advertising, that was television, but something in my soul felt like I was supposed to be there. Like I didn't even know the show that well because I worked during the day and I wasn't like VCRing and watching every night, but I just could feel this tug that there was something meaningful there and that I could feel that I was supposed to be a part of it. But I am not one of those people. If you reject me, I pick up my purse and leave the room. I don't say, no, let me try again and let me try again, which I admire that in people. I think that's really interesting and brave and, you know, it's quite visionary in a way. I am not like that. So when I got rejected for a promo producer position, I said, okay, wasn't supposed to be. I thought it was. My feelings must have been wrong. Okay, never mind. And
Well, wait a minute. Time out for a second.
Yeah.
I don't talk about just law of attraction. I talk about the 7 essential laws. And one of the laws is the law of detachment. So what I see that you did brilliantly is you gave your best. You gave everything you could to put in the resume. You took the action steps. Then when you got the information, it was a complete detachment.
Yes, it was. Well, listen, I think it's marvelous because I do believe in that law too. And I do that more consciously now. At the time, it was more shame-based. It wasn't like, oh, well, it didn't work. It was, of course, I'm not good enough for the Oprah show. So I had some other underlying things. So I kind of skulked away in shame. And then kind of went back to my life trying to figure it out, and the advertising thing just wasn't lighting me up, and there just was a series of things that were disappointing. And once again I found myself feeling like I'm in a moment of, oh my God, I can't believe now I don't know what I'm going to do again. How is this possible? I've done all these things. How is this possible? And just when I was at the lowest point that I'd been in a really long time, I got a message on my answering machine that there was a new sheriff in town in the promo department at the Oprah show, and would I come in and interview? And that was the beginning of what was a 21-year joyride, almost 21.
Let me ask you this. What did you do from the point you're saying, like, I'm in the lowest period of my life, you get this call?
Yeah.
Right? What did you do to pump yourself up to be able to get into a vibrational match with receiving,
Right. Well, I do think that there was something in the days leading up to that call that I had a complete and utter total detachment to outcomes. That I was like, I give up, universe. I give up. My way is not working. I unclench my hands. I open up my heart. I'm totally freaking miserable. Lead the way. And then, so when that call came, it felt like an honest to goodness miracle.
Wow.
So I didn't have to say anything to myself. I was like, oh my God, the heavens have literally reached down and pulled me out of the abyss.
Wow.
And delivered me to my dreams. And it was mysterious. It was powerful. I knew on some level it had something to do when I had let go of all my trying to force outcomes. But I just was like, okay, take in every minute of this because your big dream just came true. And, there were millions of people who wanted a shot like that with Oprah at the Oprah show.
I'm hearing two things, which leads me to law of allowing, right? It was just it was a detachment, but it's like with the detachment comes that space of allowing. And unless you're not in that allowing space, anything can't come to you.
Right. So that is true. That is true. And listen, from the first day I walked in, and I was one of the oldest ones in the building. Everybody was, golly, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years younger than me, which is a big difference at 35, I was 35 at the time. It was an entry-level job. Again, starting over in salary. I did not care a whit. It was like I had walked into Oz. It was magical to me. It was hard, and it tested all of my skills and abilities. But what I could feel was that missing piece that I needed in my career, which was meaning. Being a producer is super exciting. There's lots of, every now and then, a Hollywood-like feel to it. And when I was producing commercials, I could pretend like I was a Cecil B. DeMille big deal. But in the end, that missing meaning piece snuck up on me a little bit, that I wanted to tell stories that mattered. I wanted my work for people to be like changed by it and not just influenced, which is also great, But for me, I wanted people to be changed by it. And I wanted to be changed by that work. And
so you were clear. Were you clear about your intention for all that? You had that yearning in you for like meaning. And I believe that even though sometimes our brains don't, like, we can't, consciously know, there's something, because of all the stuff that we've been sorting through and all the contrast that we've had, that there's some part of us that is clear and that actually goes up in front of us and creates it. So here's this yearning for meaning in what you're doing. And it's a perfect match for what you produced on the show with Oprah.
Well, once again, how I at the time, in those 20s and 30s, I was unable to create a vision and imagine it, visualize it, allow it, line up with it. Instead, when I told you earlier that misery was my compass, it was kind of like I could find the pearl of my life, the treasure that I was truly seeking, by finding everything else that wasn't a fit first. So it's like, this porridge is too cold, this porridge is too thick, this porridge is, I had to do that dance.
Yes.
If I could whisper to my younger self, I would be like, hey, it's meaning you're looking for. Stop trying to be fancy. Stop trying to have the snappy business card with the cool title. You're mining for the wrong stuff, because that stuff is not going to be the thing that lights you up.
But you know what though, Sheri, I wonder if you would have really come to and appreciate the thing, which is meaning, because you had all these jobs where it wasn't meaning. Like I remember being a rep at a union liquor company in Chicago.
Wow.
Worked for Union Liquor Company, and I would feel that like I was a go-getter. I wanted to do really well, and I'm like, wow, at the end of the day, I'm just selling more alcohol and wine. And then part of the company that I got promoted to was a distributor or a supplier for the distributor, and part of the company was selling Mad Dog 2020, like that type of fortified wine.
Oh, I remember those days.
And I remember feeling, I'm like, this is actually doing harm. And I want to do something that serves people. And that was a intention I meant years ago.
Yeah.
And because I had that experience, and then because I was a pharmaceutical rep, and it was like, if I get a headache, I put peppermint on my head. I don't take an aspirin, but here I'm selling medication in the pharmaceutical industry. And I'm like, that drive, that like pull, I want to do something that's on purpose, that, like you're saying, has meaning. So now that I'm here and everything that I do has so much meaning and has so much purpose, it's like, I feel I can even appreciate it more because of the stuff that went before it.
No question. I mean, I remember those early years for me at the Oprah show. And it was really maybe even the first 6 or 8 months. Even in nirvana like that, even in a dream situation like that, you can get like, I don't know, unappreciative about the company you work for. And I would hear these younger people like bitching about the coffee. And I'm like, oh my God, I think that coffee station's amazing. Like, or did. And I'd be like, I would work here for free. I'd had so many very challenging and experiences where I was like, God, I hate this job, that it just could do no wrong. I mean, Harpo Studios, I would walk in there every day with a song in my heart. And I got some really great advice from my old advertising boss, because, I got there, I'd been there for maybe a year, I'm producing the promos. And I said to him one day, gosh, I wonder what my next step would be here. Because there was the promo people and then the show people. And the show people seemed to be the queens of the kingdom, and the promo people were kind of in the basement, kind of sludging along. But I was still grateful for that. But it wasn't as exciting. And I remember saying to him, "Gosh, I wonder." And he gave me the greatest advice. He said, "Here's what you do. You do what you're paid to do really, really well.
Mm.
Just keep your eyes on your paper. You don't need to be trying to figure out what your next move is. Just do that well. And he was sharing with me that as a boss of many different kinds of people throughout the years, he said, the people who don't end up really where they're meant to be are the people who are before they know it, they're not doing the job they have very well. And they're angling for their next opportunity. And he gave me that advice, and it was such great advice. And, that turned out to be a recipe for success for me in that situation.
Well, it's true. I mean, that's the whole book, Quantum Success. I just wrote that's just coming out. It's about alignment, but it's also about momentum. So you can't go in and feel good and la 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 and not do what your skill set, what you're paid to do in the
Right.
most highest level. I mean, there's a reason that you became from literally an entry-level position
Right.
to executive producer, literally
Yes.
in the creation phase of shows with Miss O, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a miracle. I mean, that was never even on my vision board. It would have been impossible. But, little things would happen, and people were really, really wonderful to me and taught me and trained me and saw something in me and had me help them on things that weren't even in my area. And it was one of those very organic, natural things. I don't ever remember asking for more money. I felt like every time I got a promotion, I was super surprised. It was quite a ride. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to tell you that my sister, and I think I did tell you this, but my sister used to love the Oprah Winfrey Show. And so much, in fact, that she used to tape it every single day. And then when she would come back to Arizona, if there was one person that was on or one book that really, really stirred her soul, she would have me sit down next to her and watch the show, because she would bring the tape. And then she would hand me the book. So, for example, you had Janine Roth on. And
yes.
I just had Janine on a couple months ago on the Quantum Success Show.
So did I. I had her on This Is 50. Isn't she great?
Amazing. But that book changed my sister's life, because she always had addictions to everything. People, places, things, everything, you name it. And always had her biggest first struggle in life was food, right? That book allowed her, for whatever reason, to release the struggle with food.
Wow.
She still struggled with people, places, and things, but food, she was like at peace with. And could understand that I'm reaching for food because I'm needing love. And so she stopped using that as a tool. She got rid of the hammer and started using other things. She didn't make the connection. But just those moments, and the fact that she would start giving me personal development books, that's what started me on my path.
Well, listen, the Oprah Show changed my life too. I was raised Catholic. I kind of ditched that in college. I didn't, I hadn't felt a connection. I was like, gosh, I wish I felt more connected to something. What is it? And, that was one of the greatest company benefits, because working at the show, if you were open to it, literally gave you a spiritual life. Mm. You had a front row seat. And for me, I ate it up, like chocolate. I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Yes. Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, Ayanla. I mean, the list goes even, for years. Yeah. Somebody new would come on, Janine Roth. And I would say, wow, I'm going to take that nugget away. I'm going to land it in my DNA and put it in my personal little recipe. But it was truly priceless.
That is so amazing. It just, I understand, like, when you have a company, when you have a business, the person that is kind of the leader of that has to set the energy for that. And it's just amazing how Oprah seemed to set this really beautiful energy, and you helped her hold it. And I mean, the change that you were part and partly responsible for and can take partial credit for. But I always say, like, Oprah serves the ocean, where some of us serve a pool. She's like serving the oceans. And how many people, how many people's lives were changed and affected because of shows you put together? I know mine, and you didn't even know who I was then.
Oh, mine too, sister. It was an actual amazing team, and I take listen, the credit I take is that I was smart enough to know that it was life-changing, and that it was personal, and that it was going to transform me in 40 different ways. I learned from, they were the best producers in television. There's no question about it. And they taught me, and they uplifted me. And it was such a privilege.
That's so awesome. Well, one last question. You've been quoted as saying that your definition of success, because we all have a different definition of success in our minds, right, is really being aligned with a sense of meaning, right? So how do you conjure up that sense of meaning inside of yourself? Or do you just now have it because you've had that experience?
Well, yeah. Having that experience and having that quest for meaning, that search for meaning, discovering it, drinking every drop of juice I could get out of it, it became clear to me that that really is, for me, the purpose of life. Mm-hmm. And that definition has expanded. But what I knew from looking at your work in the world, that you have to find a part of that meaning piece. You devote too much time to it. Even the simplest of jobs that I had that seemed unimportant, I would try to infuse every bit of that with purpose and giving my best, and try to extract as much meaning as I could out of it, because I came to believe that meaning makes life matter. It literally makes life matter. And now in the middle of life, what I would add to that, because meaning makes life better, quest for meaning, what I would add to that to tenderly soften that position would be happiness and meaning makes life matter. And I think that for a long time in my road of career success, I was really willing to put happiness way down at the end of the list and on the back burner. And now I would say my new understanding is that happiness and meaning are equal partners in making life matter.
I love it. And both are a decision and a choice at any moment.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what else are you excited about these days besides your podcast? And where can we
Well, that podcast is so crazy. I'm having the best time doing it. To come from TV and then to be in this platform, this new amazing world. So this is 50 with Sheri and Nancy. Loving that so much. And we have our first live event in the Redwoods of Santa Cruz at the end of August. And we're talking about that all the time on the podcast. And that's that, and sending out our newsletter. I'm having a ball.
Well, it sounds like you're reinventing yourself in a way that you love. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like you have happiness and meaning.
I do.
Well, Sheri, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And everybody else, leave us a comment. Let me know what you're taking away. Let me know what kind of fizzled up inside of you, or what kind of opened up, or what nugget you're taking away today based on our conversation, everything that Sheri had shared with everybody. So thanks, everyone. Have an amazing week.